welcome back to my channel. I am your host Masonali and you are watching Global Scope News, where we dive deep into the latest news and big events. If you have not subscribed yet, please make sure to hit the subscribe button and turn on the bell icon so you don't miss any of our exciting content. And if you are already with us, thank you so much for your support. Now, today's topic is something everyone's talking about. Donald Trump big win in the 2024 US presidential election. We have all heard people calling it a landslide. But was it really that clear cut? Or was it much closer than they want us to think? Stick around as we take a closer look at how Trump won this election, what the numbers say, and whether or not it was actually a landslide. Let's get into it. In the 2024, Donald Trump won back the presidency, beating Kamala Harris, the Democratic candidate. Many of his supporters and his team have called this is a landslide victory, meaning they believe it was a very big clear win. But was it really a landslide, or was it a much closer race than it seems? Let's break it down and see what Trump's who won the 2024 election with a total of 312 electoral votes. In the US system, a candidate needs at least 270 electoral votes to win. 312 sold him. But where things get tricky. Even without 312 electoral votes sounds like a lot. The way the election works is not as simple as just looking at this number. The US uses the electoral college system, where each state has a set number of votes based on how people live there. And the winner in each state takes all of that state's electoral votes. This system can make a close win in some states seems much bigger. Let's for example, if you win a state by a small number of votes, you still get all of that state's electoral votes. That means a victory in a few key states can give you a big lead in the electoral votes, even if the actual numbers of people who voted for you is not as high. In 2024, Trump won several important swing states. These are states where the elections could go either way, and they are key to deciding the overall results. States like Pennsylvania, Michigan, Georgia were all close races. Trump won those states, but in some of them, he won by only a few 100,000 votes. In Pennsylvania, for example, Trump took all 19 of the state's electoral votes, but he did not win by a huge margin. He won by just enough to take all of those votes. But that doesn't mean he had overwhelming support in the states. This is where the idea of a landslide gets complicated. A landslide suggests a huge clear victory. But in Trump's case, he didn't win by a large margin in many of these states. It was a never victory in a few key places, but the electoral college system made it look bigger. So while Trump didn't win, it wasn't as big as some people might think when they hear the term landslide. If we compare Trump's 2024 win to the other presidential election, we can see just how different it was. For example, Barack Obama wins the 2008 and 2012 were much bigger. In 2008, Barack Obama won 368 electoral votes and 2012 332 electoral votes. These victories were seen as landslide because Obama didn't just win the electoral votes. He also had a large share of the popular vote, the total number of people who voted for him. Trump's 312 electoral votes in the 2024 is a strong win, but it's still far from the huge victories seen in those years. And if we go even further back, Ronald Reagan's 1984 victory was massive. He won a total 525 electoral votes, which is one of the biggest landslide in the history of the United States. So while Trump's win was solid, it's not as big as other wins in the past. Another important point is the popular vote. The popular vote counts how many total people voted for each candidate across the entire country. In the 2020, Trump lost the popular vote to Joe Biden, but he won the electoral vote in 2024. In 2024, we don't yet know the full details of the popular vote, but the electoral vote is the most important number in deciding who wins the election. The swing states like Pennsylvania and Michigan are extremely important in deciding the winner of the election. These states are where the race is often very much close. In 2024, Trump won these states by narrow margin, meaning it was just a few 100,000 voters that made the difference. Let's look at Pennsylvania again. Chancellor 3 gave him a huge boost in the electoral vote count. But if just a small number of people had voted differently, Harris could have won those 19 votes instead. The same things happened in the other swing states like Michigan and Wisconsin. Trump didn't win by a lot in these states, but because of the way the system works, he still got all the electoral votes. So Trump's victory really a landslide. Some people might say yes because he won 312 electoral votes, and that's a solid win. But when we look at the actual numbers in the swing states, we see that the race is much closer than it might appear at first. Trump won by a small margin in key places, but that doesn't make it a landslide. A landslide usually means a big win across the board, but Trump's victory was made up possible by small wins in a few important states. The electoral college system can make a never win look bigger than it actually is. If the system were different and we just counted the total number of votes nationwide, the results might look different too. But under the current system, Trump's 312 electoral votes were enough to give him the win. One thing that is impressive about Trump's victory is the fact that he made a major comeback after losing in 2020. Historically, not president who lost the election has been able to return to the White House. Trump's victory in the 2024 shows that comebacks are possible, especially when a candidate is able to win back voters in important states like swings. After his defeat in 2020, many people thought Trump's political career was over, but he proved everyone wrong by winning back key swing states and appealing to a broad range of voters. To wrap up things, Donald Trump's 2024 election victory was a solid win, but it was not the huge landslide some might claim. He won. He won 312 electoral votes, which gave him the presidency. But his victory was actually much closer in many key states that it first appears. The electoral college system made his win seem bigger than it was. But the real story is about narrow victories in a few important places. So, if you found this breakdown helpful, don't forget to give up a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button. Share this video with your friends and family to keep the conversation going. We want to hear what you think about Trump's victory and the electoral college system. In our next video, we will dive deeper into what Trump's second term could look like. So make sure to subscribe and turn on the notifications so you don't miss it. Thank you for watching and we will see you in the next video. Take care.